Oui, Mario. Parfait, je transfère les lignes, j'enlève la musique avant. Ça fait plaisir, merci. All participants, please stand by. Your conference will begin momentarily. À tous les participants, votre conférence.
Bonjour tout le monde.
Good morning, everyone.
Yesterday, we presented our government's plan to support Canadians through the second wave of COVID-19 and rebuild a strong, resilient economy. There are lots of important measures to cover, but first, I want to start with fighting COVID-19. Because right now, job one remains protecting you and your family. To date, we've secured billions of pieces of PPE, tens of millions of rapid test kits, and signed deals for hundreds of millions of doses of 7 vaccine candidates. Canada now has the most diverse portfolio of any country for vaccines. We're in the right place to have access to safe, effective vaccines as soon as possible. As the co-founder of Moderna said over the weekend, Canada was among the first to pre-order their vaccine doses. We are guaranteed some of Moderna's first batch if the vaccine is safe and approved. Already, Moderna has submitted their candidate for Health Canada review, as have Pfizer-BioNTech and AstraZeneca Oxford. And just yesterday, Johnson & Johnson joined this list as the 4th candidate for Health Canada review. As I outlined on Friday, our government is also working around the clock with the provinces and territories and through the new National Operations Centre on the vaccine rollout. We've invested in everything from freezers to needles to be sure we can reach every Canadian who wants a vaccine, no matter where they live.
We are ready to distribute the vaccines as soon as possible. But before reaching that point, currently our absolute priority remains to flatten the curve and to save lives. That is why we continue to buy pieces of personal protective equipment and to ship them to frontline workers. We are also working to build our screening capacity for the provinces and territories. Over the last months, we have signed agreements with several top-tier manufacturers to acquire up to 40.5 million rapid screening tests. More than 5 million of these tests have already been distributed to the provinces and territories, and the others will follow. During the second wave, these rapid and precise tests are critical in terms of protecting people and slowing down the spread of the virus. They are particularly important for rural and remote communities where access to nearby labs is limited. As well as screening, we are allocating more funds to modeling in order to better follow and understand the spread of the virus, and in this way help communities to stay safe.
8 of every $10 spent in Canada to fight COVID-19 and support Canadians has been spent by the federal government. This includes the investments we've made for PPE, testing, and vaccines. It also includes the historic measures we've rolled out for families, small businesses, young people, and seniors. These are programs that you've relied on to help get you through this crisis, to help put food on your table or afford your rent, to save your small businesses, to keep your job, to make sure we make it through as best as we possibly can all together. In the second wave, you may still need that support. We all remember what happened when the previous government cut support too quickly following the 2008-2009 recession. That will not be our approach. We'll continue to be there for the middle class and those working hard to join it, whatever it takes, as long as it takes, until we get through this pandemic. Today, we saw new data released by Statistics Canada that shows significant economic growth over the past few months. This goes to show that the investments we've made in Canadians have helped families and businesses stay afloat. There are still tough times ahead, so we'll continue to be there for people, especially those who are hardest hit by this crisis.
We all remember what happened when the previous government cut support too quickly during the 2008-2009 crisis. We will not do that. We will be here for the middle class and those working hard to join it. We will do everything necessary for as long as necessary. The autumn economic statement tabled yesterday by the Deputy Prime Minister outlines a range of new measures that we will be taking in order to help Canadians during this crisis. For families with children under the age of 6, we will boost the Canada Child Benefit with temporary support up to $1,200 more. For youth, we will eliminate interest on student loans for a one-year period. For small businesses and their workers, we are going to strengthen the salary subsidy. For farmers, we will invest $2 billion more in order to help dairy, poultry, and egg producers who are subject to supply management. We will be there for you, your family, and your community during this second wave. Together, we will get through this, and together we will emerge stronger than ever.
With vaccines on the horizon, the end of this crisis is in sight. And that means it is time to take a look at what's coming next. We have an ambitious plan to rebuild a strong, resilient economy that works for everyone. To help get there, our government will introduce a historic and appropriate stimulus plan of 3 to 4% of GDP. This will be a significant investment to get our economy back on track, and it's an investment that will make sure that no one gets left behind. We need to address the very real gaps this crisis has laid bare for women, for Black and racialized Canadians, for young people, and for Indigenous people, because we are all better off when everyone can contribute to their full potential.
Through sound and targeted investments, we can rebuild a Canada that is stronger and fairer. We can invest in climate measures such as upgrades for residences and for energy, which promotes creation of good jobs for the middle class, as well as the establishment of a competitive and clean economy for the years to come. This crisis will not last forever. The plan that the Deputy Prime Minister tabled yesterday relies on a solid financial position and outlines responsible measures with which to move forward. We have experienced a difficult year, and the months to come will also have their problems. But we have a plan to help Canadians get through this crisis and to build a better Canada that will be stronger for all.
The fall economic statement we presented yesterday is our roadmap for the path ahead. But our response to this crisis doesn't end there. On that note, I can confirm that our government is providing additional support to 2 more communities facing very serious local outbreaks. To begin with, the Canadian Red Cross will be providing assistance to the government of Nunavut to control the spread of COVID-19 and keep people safe. For the community of Arviat, the Red Cross is deploying specialists on the ground, as well as providing rapid testing support at the Winnipeg isolation site before people return to Nunavut. We've also approved a request for assistance for Hatchet Lake First Nation in Saskatchewan for the Canadian Rangers until at least December 26th. Along with members of the community, the Rangers will be there to help with everything from health services to support for elders. When we invest in support for communities and for local organizations, we invest in Canadians. I think of the story I shared back in March about Samaritan House in Brandon, Manitoba. Thanks to the funding we provided in the spring, Samaritan House was able to extend the hours at their shelter and stock up their food bank. Today, I was told that they are now expanding their programs to reach even more people in need. Whether with funding for shelters, new support for small businesses, or investments in vaccines, we've got your back. There may be tough days ahead, but together, we'll get through them.
We all have a role to play in the fight against COVID-19. Regardless of who you are, you can change things. If you wear the mask and keep your distance, your loved ones will be safe. If you avoid gatherings and use the COVID alert application, you will save lives. I know that the coming weeks will not be easy, but together we will get through this. Thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister. We'll start on the phone with questions. 1 question, 1 follow-up. Operator.
Thank you. Merci. Première question, Raymond Fillon. À vous.
Thank you. Good morning, Prime Minister. I'd like to talk about the healthcare funding. I know you will be discussing with the premiers on the 10th of December. No amount was announced in the economic update yesterday, so does that mean that you'll arrive empty-handed at that meeting? On the contrary, Raymond, we talk about unprecedented investments that we've made in healthcare to help the provinces. We're talking about $1 billion directly to the provinces on top of the usual healthcare transfers, and more money for the stimulus package that will include monies for the return to school and for the most vulnerable people. So in total, healthcare investments represent an increase of almost 25% for this year's usual healthcare transfers. So we're going to continue to work with the provinces to get through this crisis, and I'm looking forward to that conversation next week on what we're going to do in the following years when we won't have this crisis to go through. But our priority right now remains to be there to help Canadians across the country with support to the healthcare system now. Follow-up? Yes, but what the premiers are asking for, they're saying that it's not enough. They're asking for billions more in annual transfers. So where would this money come from, since it's not budgeted in yesterday's statement? Are you willing to go further into deficit, or would this money come from the future stimulus package, this $100 billion that Ms. Freeland announced yesterday? Answer: we are there we'll be there to talk to the premiers next week and the investments that we'll be able to make together in the years to come. But right now, you will understand that our priority is to help Canadians get through this crisis. We are in an unprecedented moment. We've made one-time and responsible investments, and we will continue to look to what we can do now. Obviously, there will be conversations on what will happen after, and we will get into those conversations next week. Thank you.
Thank you. Merci. Next question, Bill Curry, the Globe and Mail. Line open.
Thanks, Prime Minister. Just to follow up on Raymond's questions there. This week's update says a $1 billion transfer to the provinces for long-term care will be contingent on the provinces providing detailed reporting on how the money is spent. Will you also be requiring detailed reporting on any new health transfers as you look ahead to the First Minister's meeting next week?
We're going to be talking about all that as we meet next week. But I think the important thing is to look at what we need to do right now. Right now, Canadians are suffering. Right now, in our long-term care system, right across the country, we've seen very, very real challenges. We saw them during the first wave. We stepped up as a federal government to support the provinces, get things back under control, but we continue to see too many deaths, too many vulnerable seniors in long-term care facilities right across the country. That's why we're moving forward with $1 billion more to help our seniors who are so vulnerable with extra supports for infection prevention and control. It's something that all experts are highlighting as one of those necessary things in long-term care facilities. It's certainly something that the Canadian Armed Forces and the Red Crosses have seen as a point of crisis. So we are there to help the provinces. We are there to continue to move forward on things that are going to help.
Follow-up, Bill?
Yeah, just to go back to the numbers, the update says the total federal transfers this year will be $99.7 billion, but then next year it's going to drop to $82.1 billion. So is that the plan, or are you going to put more money to the provinces through these negotiations and ultimately a bigger deficit than what you forecasted yesterday?
We're going to have conversations with the provinces about what their needs are right now through this pandemic, and we're all going to take a look at what the needs could be after this pandemic is through. But obviously, our priority, as we've said repeatedly to Canadians, is we're going to be there for you. The federal government has spent 8 out of every $10 invested in supporting Canadians through this COVID-19 crisis. That has had direct implications on healthcare and on the supports Canadians are getting. We're going to continue to be there for Canadians. I look forward to that conversation with the premiers to look at how we can ensure that we are supporting people right now and that our healthcare systems are sustainable into the future.
Thank you. Next question, operator.
Thank you. Merci. Prochaine question, Hélène Buzetti, Le Devoir. À vous.
Good morning, Mr. Trudeau. I'd like to come back to this $1,200 rather per children in the economic update. I'd like to know how parents with children under the age of 6 are more affected by parents who have children of, say, the age of 8, or others who might be earning minimum wage and simply don't have any children. So why privilege that group over others? Well, from the outset, with the Canada Child Benefit that we launched in 2016, we made a distinction between children under the age of 6 and those between the ages of 7 and 18, because we recognize that once a child is at school, there are lesser costs, there are fewer financial concerns for families, and they still need money, of course, and that's why we were very generous from the outset. But we recognize that in that particular situation, with the challenges of early childhood, that extra money directly in the pockets of these families is important. And therefore, we will be giving the middle-class families and those working hard to join it assistance up to a maximum of $1,200 per child for the next year in order to help with all of the expenses that they have for children under the age of 6. No, but the question, Mr. Trudeau, was how does that really answer? We have a tremendous deficit. You're being accused by opposition parties of burning through money. And when we see that there aren't many explanations for the rationality of this, why proceed in this way? Well, I think we spoke to Canadians across the country for whom the money that we sent to help families, workers, seniors, students throughout this pandemic, we talked to them about all of this to hear to what degree it made a difference. You know, people pay about 19% in interest rates on their credit cards. We didn't want people to use their credit cards and get even further into debt. So as the federal government, we chose to borrow money in order to give it to Canadians because we are borrowing money at basically 0% interest these days. So obviously, it will take money to get through the pandemic, and the federal government has taken the decision to be there for families, to be there for small businesses, and to be there for those who have children. It's one of the reasons why Canada is getting through this pandemic in a better position than many others, because we understood that there were no choices to make between the health of people and financial health. In order to have both at the same time, we had to invest. I understand that the Conservative Party would not have done this. I understand that from the outset, the Conservative Party said, no, you should have helped businesses more and less families. But that's not our approach. Our approach, as I promised Canadians, is that we would have their backs, that we would be there to support them regardless of what happens, for as long as it's necessary for us to do so. So we recognize that families with young children have extra costs in these difficult times, and it's something that we've been doing from the outset.
Hello, Prime Minister. Mike Blanchfield, Canadian Press. I wanted to ask you about how you see the Health Canada approval process unfolding for the vaccines. Will Canada be able to accept advanced shipments of vaccines prior to Health Canada approval so that they're here on soil and available for distribution? And if a Health Canada approval takes a bit longer than U.S. regulators because of your comments previously about wanting to get this right, should Canadians be prepared for the possibility they might not get a vaccine before they see Americans getting them? What do you say? What will you say to them then?
Our top responsibility is keeping Canadians safe. Now, in this COVID pandemic, keeping Canadians safe means getting a vaccine as quickly as possible. But it also means making sure that that vaccine is safe for Canadians. We will watch carefully what's going on around the world. Our Health Canada regulators are paying close attention at the same time as they are currently evaluating the 4 top vaccines that have come forward right now. We will ensure that all the steps are taken to make sure they're safe for Canadians, so that when we start rolling them out to Canadians, people can get that vaccine with confidence and know that we are getting through this pandemic together. But we know there are many different vaccine candidates out there. Some are going to be more effective than others. Some are going to arrive more quickly than others. And that's why back in the spring, we signed deals with, in the summer, we signed deals with 7 different vaccine companies, because we didn't know which one would land first or which one would face extra bumps in the road or not. So we made sure that of all the possible vaccines, Canadians have access to the range of them and to, quite frankly, more doses potentially per capita than any other country in the world. Because every step of the way, we made a promise to Canadians that we'd get them through this, and that's exactly what we're doing.
Kevin Gallagher, CTV News. Prime Minister, we know that once vaccines start arriving in Canada, they will be prioritized for vulnerable seniors and healthcare workers. Where does that list go from there? And how much say will the provinces have in determining what the priority will be for, say, first responders, teachers, maybe politicians like yourself, sir? Where are you on that list? So give us an idea about that plan of prioritization and how much say the provinces will have in it.
Those are very much conversations that are ongoing right now. Obviously, as you pointed out, the priority is to get it out to the most vulnerable Canadians quickly. But we have a panel of top experts and scientists looking in directly to these challenging ethical and societal questions of who gets the vaccine's access first. We talked about it with the provinces last week on our 22nd First Minister's call. And there was a lot of number of perspectives, but there seemed to be a consensus that we should all agree across the country on what that list looks like and make sure that it is applied fairly right across the country. There are more conversations to come, and we will keep Canadians informed as we determine what that right order of priority is. The other element of it is certain vaccines might be more effective with certain populations versus others. And that's why the experts are going to be so important in making determinations around what is the best path to move forward for our country. Okay. Nous avons mis en place un groupe d'experts.
We set up a group of experts and scientists world-renowned to examine this issue, to see how to prioritize various populations in terms of access to the vaccine. I spoke about this with the premiers last week, and we agreed that we will have to organize to be aligned in terms of the populations that will be the priority ones and the work that we will do across the country. I think Canadians expect that it will be fair, but at the same time, it's not politicians who are going to decide this. It will be based on the recommendations of experts and scientists, because we recognize that different vaccines can have different impacts on seniors or younger people or people from various communities. So we're going to optimize the impact of the vaccines is also a scientific concern.
Prime Minister Tom Perry, CBC. Can I ask you a little bit about this Johnson & Johnson vaccine that you're looking at, how that changes the equation, or does it change the equation in terms of when Canadians might see a vaccine? Can I ask you as well, I mean, specifically, what more information do you need before you can say, okay, here's when you're going to get a vaccine? And just to follow up on Kevin's, do you think that you're part of a priority group? Will you be one of the first people getting a vaccine when one is available?
The 4 vaccines that Health Canada is looking at right now, Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, Moderna, and AstraZeneca, are all undergoing a process that Health Canada has accelerated, but is ensuring that we're not cutting any corners. As we approve vaccines, we will be able to roll them out to Canadians, and we're working to do that, like everyone is around the world, as quickly as possible while remaining safe. And I will highlight that there are right now no vaccines anywhere in the world approved for use by the general population. Everyone is working extremely hard. We're all sharing data. We're all making sure that we're trying to make the right decision as quickly as possible to both keep people safe and move through this as quickly as possible. We will continue to do that work and continue to work with each company on the particularities. But again, because we were so early in signing deals with so many different vaccine producers, we actually have a very good position for receiving vaccines and being able to distribute them to Canadians. But those conversations are obviously ongoing, and ultimately getting to the starting line is something we're all focused on. But we're also need to be focused on getting to that finish line and getting the majority of Canadians vaccinated. And that's where having potentially more doses per capita for Canadians than anyone else is going to be very helpful to us. In regards to where politicians are on that list, again, I'm going to trust experts to make the right determination of what the priority populations are.
Good morning, Monsieur Trudeau. This morning, you said in an interview that you were concerned about having new recurring expenses in terms of healthcare. Does that mean that the recurring transfers to the provinces, I'm not talking about the one-time investments, but does that mean that those regular transfers will not increase? Well, we'll have these discussions with the provinces next week. As I said several times, and as you said, the one-time investments are being made, will be there to help the provinces and territories and our seniors and all groups to help us all get through this pandemic. The federal government will continue to be there to do everything necessary to help Canadians to get through this. Once we are on the other side of it, we will obviously continue to make investments in the healthcare system and to look to the future, and we'll have those conversations with the provinces next week. I'm looking forward to those conversations on the future of our healthcare system. I will listen to the provinces, but as I said, we weren't going to announce in this economic statement investments that will be recurrent long-term ones, when our emphasis and our priority is on the current situation.
I think one of the things we all know is that we need to do everything we can to support people right now through this pandemic. And that's where the federal government has stepped up to support the provinces with billions, $25 billion in safe restart agreements, in back to school agreements, in supports for vulnerable workers. We have continued to be there directly to support the provinces, including increasing healthcare transfers significantly this year. While at the same time, we've been there directly for Canadians, for families, for young people, for seniors, for workers who've been laid off, for small businesses, for industries. We are going to be there and continue to be there for Canadians. That's our focus right now. Obviously, as we get through this pandemic, we do need to reflect on the future of our healthcare system, and that's why I'm looking forward to having those conversations with the premiers. But we weren't going to build in recurrent long-term funding in our economic update when those conversations haven't happened yet with the premiers, and where our focus, quite rightly, needs to be on the contextual and punctual spending we are doing responsibly to move forward through this pandemic.
Hi, Prime Minister. Mercedes Stevenson, Global News. You're introducing historic spending in the fiscal update that you presented yesterday, and your Finance Minister and Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland talked about there being guardrails. But there's not a lot of details about what the triggers in those guardrails are. Will you be disclosing to Canadians what the amounts of things like total hours worked or the employment rate are that will guide your stimulus spending? And will you be putting the spending to a confidence vote?
As we've seen in recommendations from the International Monetary Fund, from the World Bank, from global financial institutions who've said, do not make the same mistakes that were made by many countries, including by this country under the previous government, of turning off the taps too quickly after a recession. In the 2008-2009 recession, spending was scaled back too quickly, and that austerity hurt Canadians. What we are going to be doing is continuing to be there as long as it takes for Canadians to get through this pandemic and kickstart the economy once again so it can come properly roaring back. That's why we've set aside 3 to 4% of GDP as that fiscal stimulus once we are through this pandemic. We know that that's how you ensure the long-term health of our economy, the long-term sustainability of our finances, is by making sure that the destruction wreaked on our economy by this pandemic is minimized. That's why the federal government has stepped up with 8 out of every $10 spent on supporting Canadians through this directly from the federal government. So we're going to do this responsibly. We're going to keep in mind that we came into this pandemic with the best fiscal position of any country in the G7, and we still have that best comparative fiscal position, and we're going to continue to maintain that and look to get back to a path that is long-term sustainable. But right now, while this pandemic is going on, we know the best thing to do for people's health, but also the best thing to do for the economy, is to be there to support small businesses every step of the way, to be there to support workers every step of the way, and to prevent Canadians from having to go into credit card debt at $19% interest rates when we can borrow at near 0% interest rates. That's why we've stepped up as a federal government, and that's why it is sustainable for the longer term.
With all due respect, Prime Minister, that doesn't answer the question of what the fiscal guardrails look like or whether you'll put it to a confidence vote. But we have one last question. So I'd like to ask you about a statement the lobbying commissioner made at committee last week, saying that 3 cases she was looking into have been referred to the RCMP for criminal investigation. Are you aware of whether any of those cases involve the We Charity or the husband of your chief of staff, Rob Silver?
First of all, on the question of the confidence vote, this is a fall economic statement. This is an economic measures that, of course, will be a matter of confidence. But I am reasonably confident that none of the opposition parties wants an election right now. We certainly don't want one. We want to get these supports out to Canadians, and there are certainly things in this fall economic statement that every party should be able to support in terms of helping Canadians. In regards to the investigations, I have no information on that. Merci tout le monde.
Thank you, everyone.
Whoa. What? Am I live? Hang on a sec here, kids. I wasn't expecting. I had an emergency, and my gosh. I'm gonna just pause this here. I wasn't expecting to come live, but as has become tradition, why not? I got a platform. I'm outraged. And I got a lot to say about Trudeau. I should probably stick to that first, but I got something else rolling right here. And it's driving me nuts. I'm shaking, literally. Am I live? I got a friend of mine. I'm going to read you her DM. I think I'm on freeze frame here, right? Anyways, I'll get back to Trudeau. Why do I sound light? Oh, okay. So, I'll get back to Trudeau. A friend of mine DMs me. She's allowing me to tell what she's going through without identifying her. First of all, I love this woman. And also, I'm hilarious. So I need some advice. Is like not, hey, how are you? I go, ha, I'm not your guy. See? Now that's love. When you tell your peeps right off the bat you don't have the capacity. And I told her, first of all, I'm about to go live after Trudeau's done. And I'm a phone guy. Call me. But failing that, she laid it on me. Here it is. So the other night, my daughter was upset after school. I kept questioning her about what was wrong, and she answered me in tears that her teacher has told her and the other kids in the class that aren't wearing masks that they are not allowed to speak to each other in the classroom because they don't have masks on. She said they have to wait until they are outside to speak to each other. I am shaking. I'm not dramatic in any form. I'm not overly emotional. This has me literally vibrating in my office chair here in front of my battleship that I use to broadcast to you guys. Messages like this, where the ruling class comes out and just tries to keep us in fear and convince us that their welfare payments are supposed to take the place of our private business income. And then this from my friend today. I need advice. I'm a joker right off the bat. So this means, she goes on, so this means in downtime, when all the other kids are chatting and making friends, the non-mask wearing children have to sit and not speak. I'm sick about it, she says. I feel like this might be discrimination and a violation of her rights. Now, I'm assuming that this woman, I don't know, I'm just assuming that this woman has chosen to tell her children not to wear masks. And I don't know, maybe I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. It sounds like it to me. Can you believe you actually still have the right to tell your child not to put a mask on? You should not be masking children, period. You fucking monsters. I'm all for keeping your hands clean. They don't call me Jim Fannon for nothing. I haven't touched a fucking doorknob in decades. Not with my hands, anyways. I mean, if I do, it's not the end of the world. I prefer my sleeve or the bottom of my shirt tail, or I open the door because I'm 6'4", about 7 feet up. If I'm going out, I don't touch where you people touch. I can get out a door just leaning on it with my back and spinning around and keeping it open with my foot. I have no fear. I shouldn't say I have no fear. I have no fear of dying of COVID. Strangely, I did buy into it for a while. I was so scared at one point, I wore gloves. Thinking that was going to help. Anyway, so my friend is breaking my heart. As it turns out, I said I have no words. My heart's breaking and I'm shaking and I'm still vibrating right now. She wants to know, am I wrong? She's fucking 6 years old, she says. So for 3 months, she's been ostracized and I had no idea, she goes on. Her and the other children without masks. There's a couple others. What do you tell a woman, a mother? What do you tell? So it turns out I do have advice, but not literal, strategical, just more philosophical, I think, and just headspace. And what do you do? I was going to joke, I'm praying you don't have guns in the house, because I would be out of my mind. I don't even have children. Yet is the joke. But I'm fascinated at the level of obsession with these fucking small creatures who make, just clean my soul. Their innocence and their humor and their love. It's all good with the kids. So, and this is why most of the issues that I'm tweaked about involve children. Said on the show the other day, Elio was on with me, an old friend from the Green Party days back in 2006. We spent a lot of time together when I was on the leadership tour for the Green Party of Canada, if you can actually believe that. And we were talking about, man, the children issues, man. You fuck with my kids. And again, I'm not a father, but they're all my kids at some level. How dare you? And what I was getting into with Elio is a couple other mutual friends of mine in the Green Party that were instrumental in recruiting Elizabeth May to the party. Elio was actually the guy that recruited Elizabeth because he had the municipal connection with her. I'm pretty sure he was one of the first to make contact and suggest that it happened, and then a bunch of us jumped on and endorsed and stroked. And then I ran for leadership because she was running directly against a friend of hers, David Chernachenko, and it was going to be a hand-holding session all the way to the end. So some inside the party, thought it'd be better if a guy like me was in there to mix it up and throw in controversial ideas like horse trading in ridings where we could win. Pull a candidate here for the NDP if they pull a candidate there for us. Strategical. It was controversial, but it made the stage in the conversation because I was running for leadership. They wouldn't have discussed it. It was important to me. It was important to the party. And there was a whole bunch of other issues that no one would have talked about. I'm not saying, just saying, it was a slam dunk for Elizabeth. But at the time, I was pretty involved with the Greens. I loved them and I was passionate about it. And I was taking part at a high level. So I was talking to Elio on my show the other day, which is wherever you're watching this show right now. So you're just going to... I'm not big on showing myself on camera these days. It's just a freeze frame of Justin Trudeau's set where he comes out and lies to Canadians. How do you like my title? It's not clickbait. It is biased and opinionated. Prime Minister Cuck is what I wanted to put there, but cuck's such an evil, beautiful, filthy word. Anyway, speaking to Elio, here I go. I'm going around and around and around. The Jim Fannon Show is like a cab ride. A guy, a really creative cab that takes you the long way home to make more money. That's what it's like being on here. Discussing with Elio that I happen to be with a couple other my leader friends, shit disturbers within the party. I say that lovingly and affectionately because it wasn't really shit disturbers. It's just, we were part of the people that went against the grain a lot of the times, called out our leaders for undemocratic actions and hypocrisy, and held people's feet to the fire when council made undemocratic decisions without quorum. We were just there. We were watching, and we were pointing to all the power brokers that were breaking the rules all the time. I happened to be in their company a couple years ago in Toronto. They were so generous. I was in town, and they fed me, and we had a couple beers and caught up. And I happened to mention that I thought that helping prepubescent children transition to the opposite sex before puberty was child abuse. At that time, I hadn't given it as much thought as I had years later now. I'm not saying I was testing an idea out, but I feel strongly that our kids, let them reach puberty before they figure out who they want to have sex with, or or what their sex is. You probably know a lot earlier who you want to have sex with. Most of us are heterosexual. That's not, it's not a controversial statement. The minority are gay, the vast minority gay, and then an even smaller minority are trans. It's kind of weird if your 3-year-old rolls up and says, Daddy, I want what she's got. I don't want this. Can I get one? Yeah, when you're 18. Talk to me then. You're 3, or you're 7, or you're 9, or you're 13. No. I'm not prescribing you puberty blockers so you can ruin the sex that you are now because you're having a phase of what? Questioning your sexuality, which is normal with just about every human? Well, at some level, I guess. I don't know. I don't question my sexuality. I'm pretty solid there. Not really turned on by men. Even some certain types of women don't turn me on. I'm really, you can't change that about me. I get that you can't change that about anyone. But anyway, my friends told me basically, whoa, Fannon, back up. Whoa, easy. Wow. Yeah, they were blown away that I would make such a statement. A statement that protects the innocence of children. Stop sexualizing them, man. Stop convincing them they can be whatever they want just by dreaming about it. No, it needs hard work. And you can't become a different sex, no matter what your teacher tells you. So here's my friend reaching out for advice. I'm still vibrating a little bit. I think I've calmed down a little bit. When she first started, I was so fucking hot. I don't what do you say? I said I love women. I told her that. Fuck, I love women. The protection that a mother is, it's just inherent. It's like I get fathers protect at a different level in a different way, but you fuck with my kids as a mom and I'm nearby. God, I pray for the person that is in front of this woman if she ever snaps on them. And it would never come to that unless it was violence. coming at her. I know that. But God bless anyone that fucks with a mother's babies. 6. So anyway, that I got a little bit distracted. I'm really hoping that she is wrong. What, did I miss something? Okay, yeah. I don't know how much I should share. Anyways, I've been sick about this all week. Like ready to go absolutely crazy on this teacher in this school. But I know this is bigger than me. And I have to do this calmly. I have thought about contacting a lawyer. So that's kind of how I'm coaching her. Oh, okay, yeah. So, I told her to keep her mouth shut and be very quietly looking into her contacts at the DSBN or whatever organization, whatever school that her child is in. If you have any contacts, let me see where she is. I think I can tell you this without, yeah. She's at the Catholic, I guess. NCDSB. She says, I don't even know where to start. I said, search your contacts quietly and keep your mouth shut. And it'll be front and center for you. All your mental capacity is going to be on this anyways. This is one you cannot put down, right? This is your children's mental health, their social health, their spiritual growth. They're 6. Fuck off, you monsters. So I'm encouraging her to, while all her free mental capacity is focused on this issue, because it will be, to be open to the universe's genius, which is God basically going, have you thought about this? Hey, hello? I got one for you. And it'll come like that. It'll sound like somebody going, so-and-so. They call you by name, right? You go, Jimmy? How about this? And you're like, oh. You know, when you know that those thoughts didn't come from you because you're not that smart. Yeah. Lois. That's the universe. That's God. So God bless you, girlfriend. I've got your back, whatever you need. And I'm willing to help if this thing blows open. And this is right up my alley. I don't know. Maybe parents need to form a group. She's tried to contact the girl, but no reply. The teacher, that is. Wow, now she's talking about... I'm starting to look at my options now. I should give the chance for the teacher to explain herself now. Oh. I'm sorry. I'm kind of rolling this in real time. I'm not chatting with her now. I'm just getting caught up with what she's continued to text. Yeah, you want it in writing for sure. Yeah. Again, she's lost. She doesn't know where to start. So if you know, here's what I'm looking for. If you have a contact at the District Catholic, what is it? DCBSB, or anyone in the education system at a high level, maybe executive, you know, the one that's rowing to get along, but just it's not really, kind of hates it. Man, imagine if we had someone on the inside that really cared. Maybe it was on the way out anyways, and was willing to make a stand. The DCDSB, the Niagara Catholic District School Board. There you go. If anyone knows somebody in the Catholic School Board, an executive type, or even someone low level that would be connected to someone, where we could take this is child abuse. Okay, I get that that's maybe a little dramatic, but not much. This is straight up child abuse. Oh, Linda, thank you for your participation. Yeah. Get a lawyer. Yeah. Easier said than done in today's day and age. People are hurting for cash. I'm not sure what this girl's position is, but easy to say, get a lawyer. And of course, everyone wants the lawyer that's going to take it on pro bono, right? Because it's a landmark case. But, oh man, I don't know where to go with this one other than stay open to the genius of the universe and continue to rack your brains on people that you know that are inside the system that would help you break it. Break the system. Good luck there, young lady. Hey, if there's one mom that I would think would break the system, this would be her. This is a woman that I know to be take no bullshit, tell no lies, speak truth loud and clear, and be right up on you with it. I'm not saying she's aggressive all the time, but when it comes to stuff like this, yes, able to stand her ground, defend herself, and make her points. So, yeah, that's a little bit about the frustration of my morning. I was distracted by Prime Minister Cuck. Here, we'll start recording now. I can always go back and grab this a little bit. Prime Minister Cuck comes out, and I was commenting earlier. If you're watching Facebook, that's the only place I had I've got them all open because I want to make sure the feeds are all good, but I can't comment on them all with one click yet, so I have to go back and forth. So I put comments up on Facebook today. Excuse me. I think I need a drink. I'm so dry. I wasn't planning on coming out that quick. I thought maybe it was going to take more questions. And I should probably give you something to look at other than this, eh? Video director, can you give me some, I don't know, what are we watching?
NFL history.
Good Morning Football.
When he retired, he ranked top 12 in receptions and receiving yards. He's a college football national champion, a 7-time Pro Bowler, and holds practically every Texans career receiving record. Please welcome wide receiver from the U, and a guy who introduced us to
my YouTube channel is
before Dr. Dre's headphones, if you know what I mean.
It's got over 100 subs. That's a milestone for me in this small channel. True Tube, TREW. Oh, there I am right now. I'm live there. Oh, I wanted to title it Prime Minister Cuck Lies and Sells Fear to Canadians, but I like this channel. I'd like to keep this channel for a little while. I think I got some decent content. That's, the last one I had, the last 3 channels to go down, I had hundreds of videos on it. So this one doesn't have that many yet, but atheism is unstoppable. It was a great conversation. So, anyways, I digress. The Jim Fannon Show is like a cab ride, a really expensive cab ride. We have some of the worst, most unprepared politicians on the planet in Canada. They can't barely read a statement. Can you just come out and talk to us? For fuck's sakes, bring your notes if you need them. Make your points. Why do you got to read like a bad Hollywood actor? It's the system's broken. This is not how we speak to each other. in sound bites, in well-rehearsed scripts. Sorry, I don't have any. I should probably have some videos for you to play in the background. We could play. Can we play this? I don't know if we can even play my old footage without getting run, because I think there's copyrighted stuff in here. We have no sound there. This is my conversation with atheism is unstoppable in the background. Braming. Today we come out to blame. We blame the previous government. Braming. I don't know where braming came from. I think I need more water. Trudeau comes out to blame the previous government and compare different situations for political points. Okay, what happened? How did the Conservatives cut support too quickly in 2008 and 2009 in the crisis, white crisis? Is it me? I'm pretty politically astute, but even I don't get the immediate quick reference there. This is a really, what was 2008? The recession? What? Do we have a pandemic then? What are you talking about? And why are you comparing yourself to the 2008, 2009 Conservatives? What's wrong with me? Why don't I get this?
We were robbed of that. I wish we could have seen that. What does he do best, and what makes him stand apart from other quarterbacks in your eyes?
Deshaun is very smart. He's a very smart football player.
Do I need to open some chocolate and put it in my mouth close to the microphone as I turn up the gain so that you can hear them every time my lips smack off my teeth? Is that better? Welcome to the Jim Fannon Whispering Show, where the sounds that my mouth makes in the background are more important than the words that I actually say. Oh, did you hear my throat gurgle there? It's like a little monster in my throat saying, I got something to say. Ask me what drugs I'm on today. All right. So yeah, we will be there for you. Sounds like a song. This is a running theme. News flash to Justin Trudeau and the governing Liberals. Welfare payments don't replace my business income. Okay? $4.50 a week doesn't replace the hundreds of thousands of dollars that my restaurant brings in, or whatever my business is. You're not keeping me afloat. You're not borrowing money at zero interest, so I don't have to put it on my credit cards. My credit cards are full. And I speak for many people. Welfare payments don't replace my private business income, you fool. And this is not true. This is true for everyone. Every business owner can say this. You're ruining people and their businesses that they worked their whole lives for with unnecessary lockdowns and lies. Lies. If you wear your mask and keep your distance, your relatives will be safe. Did you see that he left out wash your hands? This is a contact sport, dummy. It's not an aerosol sport. I'm sorry to tell ya. It's from touching. Yes, it's spread to surfaces through the air. Mostly, it's a contact sport. And you're telling people to keep their distance and wear a mask and their loved ones will be safe. Wrong. You have to wash your fucking hands. And if you're touching your mask, you're fucked. Disposable masks are supposed to be used once. I don't know what's in them. I have enough problems with my lungs. I'm never putting a mask on. And if I do, it'll be like a bandana, a cloth one that doesn't provide any discernible protection for anyone, but just to get by, if I'm being paid the job I'm choosing to do, whether volunteer or if I'm representing another business, fine, I'll wear my bandana, I guess. Not putting a disposable mask made in China and who knows made of what particles that might be in that mask. You see the way these masks flex to and fro? That's resistance on your intake of oxygen, you fucking knobs. And that thing is dirty as shit. You might as well have a fucking diaper on your face. But whatever, wear your masks. I'm fine. I'm just not doing it. So far, I've had really no resistance. And I'll tell you, in my limited travels around the city, I've seen no one since August. And I mean no one not wearing a mask everywhere, including outside. I mean, 100% of the people that I see outside aren't wearing masks. Thank God. I'd say 50% of them are, though. Are you nuts? You're going to filter fresh air with bacteria in your mask. What? This is clown world. I'm at the edge. I don't know. I feel hopeless. I'm prepping for Thursday even though I come out here a lot and I rant all this stuff up. I'm going to have some video from CTV from CTV from this morning. I think I watched it from 10 to 11 or something like that in the background while I was doing other things. All fear, all propaganda, all lies, all anti-Trump stuff too. Like you won't believe the propaganda coming out of CBC. I don't watch CTV that much, but it's Bell Media. I know CBC's got their thing, yeah. But CTV is relentless propaganda and lies, straight up fear. All they're talking about is infections. We got all these premiers, all these governments doing all these press conferences all day telling us that the sky is falling, and most of us don't know anyone infected ever. Let alone die. I'm going to have the clip from CTV where they claimed that actually 98% of the deaths were in old age homes. Let's call them LTCs, long-term care centers? LTCCs? I don't know. LTCs. In the long-term cares. I got a long-term care for you. It turned out it's not accurate. They broadcast it. But rather than happily retract it and say we screwed up, they edited the clip. Someone caught it. A YouTuber with fucking 100 followers. Maybe he's got more on BitChute. But it's a small guy that's been terminated that called it out and went, and then another doctor tweeted it. I tweeted it. Then I guess CBC debunked it. CTV didn't acknowledge that they got caught. They just edited the clip to remove the statement. So you can lie to Canadians, you can fake news to Canadians, and you get something so fucking wrong that we all, we're going, what the fuck? Look at these stats. Can this be right? Everyone starts cheering it madly, not even know, and then CTV doesn't even come out and go, oh, we fucked that up there. My bad. No. They edited the tweet. They edited the clip. So the clip that the guy used that originally, and he's got it on his BitChute channel. It's Press for Truth, I think. on YouTube. I should be prepared with this right now. I wasn't planning on talking about this. So anyways, my point was I'll have some of these clips ready for you Thursday at 7 p.m. All right? I'm going to come to you with an actual prepared class of frustration and hate from Fannon. Jim Fannon Show Live, 7 p.m. ESTs on Thursdays. Hi.
And Andre Johnson. I mean, that just is not fair. I feel like Nate Robinson getting knocked out. I can't believe
First of all, because you're a great broadcaster.
That was for 20 minutes. I know I'm in. I'm done.
I mean, I'm just
I got it
here.
Look at the presentation.
I got one more day at Nate Robinson.
I'm talking about the one on my left. And why she got bolts on?
Yes, there we go.
Back up.
All right, here we go. All right.
Kate, good morning football, man. Love that girl. Great broadcaster. Squirrel! Trudeau goes on to say that we should make sure that all our citizens are able to contribute to their full potential as we rebuild. Someone say climate change? Rebuild. Listen, rebuilding is what you do when the team has no talent. Okay? I don't put Canada in that place now on the world stage. Pretty good. Our democracy has some challenges. The ruling government of the day is disappointing. Embarrassing at the international level.
At least among the...
We don't need to rebuild, reimagine. Here's what we should do. Climate change? Climate change gets, and every answer seems to be at the top of the list. Here's what we cannot do. Control what's coming climate-wise. Anyone that thinks that the actions that we take today is going to have a direct effect on what happens 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now, you're wrong. The climate is changing in a way that we can only adapt to what's coming. Because if we quit fossil fuels now, it'd still come. Even if we ended burning all carbon today, which I'm for, I guess, as long as we don't punish the public in the meantime with taxes and wealth redistribution and money that goes out of the country. Yeah, I'm all for burning hydrogen, ammonia as fuel. Did you know you can burn ammonia? We have the infrastructure to actually transport it, to a certain extent, because farmers have ammonia on their farms. So we have a infrastructure already. And then when you burn ammonia, which doesn't take much conversion to the combustion engine, your exhaust is water vapor, steam, H2O. And you can make it in your backyard, basically. Tough to store sometimes. Not even that. Now, when you compare it to hydrogen or oil or gasoline, it's not any more difficult to store. Yeah, you can burn ammonia, and it's been done many times. But the government doesn't want to look at actual solutions that work. This is not new technology, and it's happening all over the world, and Canada is lagging far behind right now. The world is late to the party as it is, but they are converting ships now. I hear overseas jet fuel can be replaced at some level with ammonia. Trucking fleets. It's happening. And Canada wants nothing to do with it. All they want to talk about is more regulation, more taxes. We're here for you. To the indigenous communities, we're here for you. Liar. You lied to all Canadians. Hashtag fire Trudeau. You said that you were going to make clean drinking water for the indigenous people a priority in your government. Nothing has happened. How long have you had, Trudeau? When did you make that promise? What have you done for the most vulnerable in our society, Trudeau? What are you doing for the most vulnerable sector of society right now against COVID? Watching them die in old age homes is what you're doing, bitch. You're here for us. That's why he actually said that they stepped in to take control of the long-term care situation. Did he really make that? Canadians are suffering. We have long-term care challenges, and that's why we intervened and got that back under control. What? Because you dedicated another $1 billion to what you call infection prevention and control? We're there to help. We're there to move forward together. Over and over. Every question. Bill Curry asked about, well, I know you've said $1 billion to the provinces contingent on reporting, but how can you be accountable for that when it's not, you haven't accounted for it in your budget? They're going to need more than that. Canadians are suffering, he says. And we've had our long-term challenges, but that's why we intervened in the long-term care centers and got that back under control. He asked you about how you're going to pay for the $1 billion that you're promising to give to provinces, contingent on reporting and accountability. He just spins the question. Oh, $1 billion. We're giving. We spoke to Canadians, and the money we send them and seniors and students made a difference for them. We spoke directly to Canadians, and they told us that the money we've been sending them has made a difference. And we're using our credit card because we borrow at 0% interest. Why have families bear the debt of 26-27% interest on their credit cards when we can borrow at 0% and give them our money? Here's what we don't want to talk about, the trade-offs. Yeah, you can use government money and spread it all around. What are you trading off? There's impacts. And the way this Liberal government is acting is completely irresponsible. They just throw money at the problem, and that'll fix everything. Yes, Scott Prince, thanks for that. The death toll is absolute bullshit, and so is the infection rate, because the PCR or testing or PRC or whatever the fuck they call this, and you spin it up to 40 and you're going to get a positive every time. And colds can give a positive, and you can get false positives and not have the shit. Lots of people are getting diagnosed with COVID and not ever showing symptoms and having to quarantine for 2 weeks because they tested positive. It's a fucking crime. Oh, Linda, I don't have time to get to all that. Scott, you're at the bottom, yeah. Yep. Get tired of it too, man. I don't know. I feel like I'm banging my head against the wall because so many people are just jumping in line. Just ready to acquiesce. Is that the correct word for this? Submit, to get in line, to put their head down, and to be beaten into submission, to actually have your rights taken from you, and then thank the government for taking them, because, well, they're just. They're just and right. What up, Periscope? I have been ignoring you all day. Pretty hair. Did you go to Nancy Pelosi's hairdresser? It's pretty good. What up, outdoor janitor? You've been a busy boy. Script reader. This is true. This is why I love Trump. He learns facts when he repeats them often without a script. Yeah, I prefer Trump without a script too. He's not as annoying on script as these fucking paper readers are. Reading that story you shared off a paper that shows vigor and sincerity. Not enough. My brain is freezing up. Bye. Thanks for posing the poser. Politically correct Frenchman's voice. The Balkanization is the socialist thing. Gotta go. It's all French to me. Bonjour, mon ami. Thank you, outdoor janitor. Gloria. Oh man, I should be watching this over here instead of this. Anyways, I could do that later. Thursday, 7 p.m. right here, 7 p.m. EST. I've been trying to stick to the schedule. The last few weeks I've been struggling. Have not been feeling well. Feeling a little bit better. Still struggling with a couple things. Physically, it's not cool. But my back is a little bit better. I got a guest coming up tomorrow at noon. I'm not going to jinx who that is, but dude's huge on Twitter, so that's cool. He's also a broadcaster. I will tease it. He co-hosts a show with Chuck Woolery. And I can't tease it because I don't actually have the guy's name in front of me. That's how much of a fan I am. No, but it's going to be a good conversation tomorrow. That's Wednesday, right? Tomorrow at noon, I'll be live here with a pop-up. I'm going to pimp it out later. Once I make the Zoom link, then I'll start pimping it out, and I'll let you know who my guest is going to be. Okay, mon ami? Let's see. Anybody on? No one on YouTube. That's fine. This I showed you where it was. True TREW.tube. On Periscope, you can find me at Jim Fannon. Same address on Twitter. Of course. Fakebook.com/Jim Fannon is where you find me. And I think /Jim Fannon Show will go to the page as well. And at Jim Fannon Show on Twitter as well. So that's the backup account. I just broke 10,000 again. I lost a couple hundred or over 100. I think I lost about 250 followers since election night for whatever reason. And I don't lose that many followers that quickly for that long. It takes a while for me to get them back up because, well, followers are tough on Twitter now. When you're a little guy. So yeah, I went down to like I don't know, 100 below my 10,000 limit or 150 below. And I was on the show, which might be podcast now. The show, listen to me umming and on like Justin Trudeau. Bob and Eric Save America invited me on their shows on near the end. I think I had about 20-25 minutes with them talking about the election, about Good Friday, about the State of the Union, basically. It was good. These guys are so generous. Eric Matheny is the co-host. I've had Eric on my show before, and he's got a huge following on Twitter, which is cool because when he retweets my stuff out or when I have him on the show, he retweets the stuff out. It gets a lot of attention because my YouTube channel is not up anymore, so I don't get that much attention. I don't have a big audience, although Twitter is probably my biggest audience now at 10K. So I had him on the show. He was great. I had him for about an hour. I had him booked for a couple of weeks ago, but he had to cancel last minute. And then he said, "Hey, Jim, you want to be on the show?" I'm like, sure. So they were so cool about it. I got them to let me broadcast my segment because they're tape delay. So I came in 11:45 a.m. EST, and they didn't drop the show until 2:30 EST or ET. So what I did as soon as I came into the Zoom call, I did a little opening, I put the music up, and then I went live with them and I carried it live. So my segment actually came out before they broadcast what is live to tape a couple hours later. But they got a lot, like I actually was there to watch the live to tape hit like it was live and got to comment on it as it was hitting live, which was fun because I watched the whole show. And then when I came on, I was hilarious in the comment section. How's my hair? I tweeted, is a tweet to God a prayer? Redonkulous. Anyways, Thursday. Shit, it's 1 p.m. I gotta roll. I didn't know it was coming out here today. 10 o'clock, I see 11:30, they're coming out. Is that what time he came out? Yeah, 11:30. I'm like, oh shit. That means I've got a half an hour of work that I can do, another hour of half an hour prepping this stuff, and then another hour of broadcasting plus. How long have I been rolling here? What time did I start? Let's see if I got a time here. 1 hour and 30 minutes ago. 1:29:30. Wow. An hour and a half ago. So yeah, I didn't expect to be here. So I will be back tomorrow at noon to discuss a lot of the topics that I'm discussing now and more with my special guest that I'm unable
yards and Doug Peterson has a personal vendetta against him.
Like to identify because I'm just not prepared. Why does this keep showing over and over? Let's go to, oh, have you seen this guy? Oh, liberal tears. Okay, that's enough of this guy, and that's enough of me, all right? Peace, love, hug your neighbor, and why don't you do yourself a favor? That mask, that filthy, dirty diaper on your face, it doesn't work. Fucking take it off.